I've fought bigger monsters than you two-faced lizard!
Welcome back to the Tide Hanger. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the Aoyi Mech Raging Dragon Interstellar, and it's their take on Hun-Gurrr. It's a KO oversized version of the Power of the Primes, and this thing looks pretty good. I'm gonna form it into Abominus. That's gonna be a whole lot of fun. I did get this at Show Z. It's like 33 bucks. I'll have a link down below. Let's get into it. First off, the packaging isn't really much to speak of, but they do have the little symbol there for the Aoyi Mech, and then they have some nice artwork with really cheap packaging, and hey, hopefully they pass the savings on to us, but there we go. A little more artwork on the side. It's probably more than they really needed to do, more trouble than they needed to go through, but there it is. Taking a look at this figure in bot mode, he actually looks okay. He's not perfect. I'm right out of the gate. I'm having trouble with standing him because the ankles are friction only, so there's no ratchet, and for a pretty good size figure that he is, it's just not that tight. The more you manipulate it, the weaker they're going to get, the harder it will be for him to stand in this mode, but it really shouldn't affect the combined mode, which is all I'm really going to use it for in the end. But looking at it, I'm sure everyone wants to see how's the paint, and this plastic is just colored plastic. We have painted right here, this is painted, plastic right there. This is paint, and this is plastic. That's painted, and it matches really well. They did a really good job with that. It's always hard to match your paint and your plastics just right, so they got that done pretty good. And moving lower, this is also paint, but this is plastic, and they don't match quite as much, but they look pretty good. Looking at the back, do have some paint apps and stuff we're going to see later on. Do want to point out, you do have to put these stickers on yourself, so it doesn't come pre-applied or painted. It's stickers. I don't know if the official had that, but yeah, there it is. Let's have a look at articulation real quick. Head side to side, kind of go down into his transformation a bit. Shoulder out to the 90. It's tight. That's tight, but it kind of has to be. You do have the bicep swivel, you have a 90 at the elbow, and you do have nothing at the hand, and you can make it go up a little bit if you want to for whatever reason for the transformation, and no waist swivel. We do have a 90 right here, a little past the 90. As you can see with the mushroom connector, they like to show it off, but we do have a thigh swivel. We do have a really good knee bend because again, of the transformation, and getting down to the ankles, which I think are really weak on this, but who cares, I guess. He does come with this sword, which fits into his upscaled 5mm ports, so they're not 5mm anymore. What are they, 6mm ports, 7mm ports? Okay, here we go with, it opens up into this sort of a bird thing. I don't know, does this come with the official too? I don't know. I watched a review just to see, and no one showed this. Did I miss it or what? But that's cool. It's probably going to be used in combined mode the most. Here he is compared to his G1 counterpart, and I do want to point out that the G1 actually looks more symmetrical than this guy. This guy does look a bit off balanced, and I loved the way this thing looked back in the day. I still like the way this figure looks. It's pretty heavily played with, but it still gets the job done. This one's kind of loosey-goosey, but just looking at it, this one's a bit cleaner in some areas than this one, but at the end of the day, from the front, I still think the G1 has a better looking profile. So since he's upscaled, he is bigger. I don't know if he's quite big enough for you to like pull off on a Masterpiece shelf. He doesn't quite have the Masterpiece aesthetic with all the kibble going on his arms and the big thick arms and skinny little legs, but with that, it's still a cheat if you want to get a cheat until we get a proper Masterpiece version if you want him in bot mode, and we're going to see how well we can cheat when we do combine. But next to Megatron, he does look pretty good, and it works if you need to fill your shelf with something. Now, I've always thought these figures looked good. The official figures look good. The ones I bought for my kids looked good. This looks good. I like it, but I kind of wish these guys were a little bit bigger. I'm not knocking his size being too tall. I just wish they would have gone a little bigger with these. Of course, then the ports wouldn't work and all that. I understand you're copying, but it would have been nicer if they were just, you know, up to the shoulder instead of just to his waist. But anyway, it's still a nice looking team, and all these figures look good together. Now it's time to get him transformed up into something. So let's see what his first transformation will be. Let's go into his alt mode. So we're going to pull this out a bit right here, tuck his head in, turn it around and tuck it in. And then we're going to lift his tail up. That's kind of strange. And then you can, if you push on these back pieces, it brings out these extra pieces here. So that's kind of cool. Folding his leg down, we're going to turn this into a leg. We need to rotate it. And, well, maybe we didn't need to rotate it. That's a later, that's for something else then. Anyway, this side, do the same thing. Put it down, form his foot. Pretty simple. These pieces here, they are actually supposed to tuck in. I guess I bumped them out. So that's how they should be in bot mode. And then you just fold them out like so to make his legs for his front legs. And we're getting really close. There we go. Let's adjust this down a bit. All right, adjusted down a bit. Now we're gonna lift these up. We're going to just basically close his foot to make the mouth, and we can just adjust these however we would like, and you're pretty much in your alt mode, which looks pretty good. For what I remember of the G1, it actually does look pretty cool. There is some kibble down there on the bottom because it does actually include the parts for the transformation. So when you combine mode, which I like that, you're not going to lose it. I mean, that's a good thing, especially like for my kids, they wouldn't lose it, so that's cool. And looking at it, we do have quite a bit of paint. I think the red's a bit off the sticker, but the head itself is really cool because of this whole gimmick of using the heel spur as the jaw. I do like that. Yeah, I know it was the mainline thing, but they did it in the mainline, they did it in this one, but it still looks really good. I like that. You have quite a bit of articulation here with this neck. You can do quite a few things with it. And side to side, posability, works really well. Once it gets down to these other legs, there's not really a whole lot you can do. These things here basically just stand straight. You can push these outward more or inward more. You can get maybe a bit of a more of a imposing stance if you'd like. And I do keep finding that these pieces push back in just because of the transformation, but that's just the way that is. As for weapon storage on this guy, I found that it's something simple. You can just plug it into here and you can store his weapon if that's something that you want, if you're concerned about it. I don't know about official weapon storage. I don't see another spot that that sword can plug in. This one is compared to a G1, and I've got to show you the massive size difference. Of course, this is KO oversized, but with the engineering and all of that. But I have to admit that Hun-Gurrr was one of my favorite figures, and I didn't have any of the other ones when I was a kid, just Hun-Gurrr. But I thought it was really cool because he looked so good on the screen. But this one, that looks good too. That looks real good. I kind of like it. Get this guy transformed up into his combined mode. Let's pop open that there, turn his head and slide it back. We're going to flip him upside down and form the legs. Need to flip these to the back and expose the connector point. Move this to the back, and we kind of have the legs, the thighs done. Now, let's go ahead and slide these around. We are going to need to get the head out. Now, this one was kind of challenging for me at first, getting the head out, and it probably is going to give me some trouble right now. Don't know why it's just so tight in there, but I'm gonna have to pop it back out again. I used some scissors to pop it out. See where the head compartment is? I just kind of pushed up on this until it disengaged and was able to pop out. And so that's how I got that out. I don't know why, it seems like really, really tight to get in there. But anyway, we got the head out of that. And now with the head up, we can fold this piece in place, and these pieces go like so. So these little legs go into here. Now I don't see that those tab in anywhere. Now we're gonna fold up the feet into here, and we're going to form the chest piece, or the shoulders. Now the shoulders are already right there. Now we're going to tab this in you can see in the back here, there are 2 slots, and then there's actually 2 pieces there, and that tabs in really, really tight. And so once that's tabbed in, it's held in there. Now I thought there was supposed to be some tabs further up, but I'm just not seeing them. Like it looks like that would tab into something, but there's nothing for this to tab into. I'm just not seeing that for some reason. Bring the head forward. There it is. Right there. It doesn't really look like it's supposed to tab in, but I guess it does. There it is. And then this will tab in to right here. And now we have his torso.
Pterodons merge and become Abominus!
So now for the moment we have all been waiting for. We're going to get this guy combined up all the way, then see exactly how tall he is, how big he is. And let's just simply slide this into the slot right here. And that works. This one right here into this slot. And there's that. Now, so adjust up the camera a bit here. We're going to slide this into this side slot right here. Now that's something that I did talk about in the Ripper Snapper review, that piece is very, very loose. The hand fell off already. We haven't really done anything yet. And let's get blot in place. Again, you do have a spring action on this still, which is good because it's going to hold it in place, but getting it into place is a bit of a pain. So there we go. Slightly untransform it. And then I didn't flip these ear pieces up when I did the transformation. It's not a big deal because we're now finished forming him. Let me get him in place. We'll have a look at him. Okay, so here he is in his combined mode. I do have to admit it is a pretty decent looking combined mode. I do kind of like it. But he has 2 serious shortcomings, and I got to talk about those, get them out of the way before we move on. But first of all, this was in the Ripper Snapper review. This hand didn't stay in. I just put a little piece of tape around the peg and inserted it, and it's holding fine, just to add some friction to it so it holds. That's a real easy fix. But the lesser easy fix are the hips. The hips are way too weak. The ratchets in the hips do not hold up this massive body. The upper body is huge, it's heavy, and it flops around real easily. So if you move him, then he could fall. So getting into any articulation that he has, you can put his arm out to the 90, but it doesn't really hold that well. And then it does like to come undone. Now, of course, that's the design issue. I'm understanding this is the same issue the Combiner Wars one has, or the Power of the Primes one. Head side to side, no up or down, and with the waist area, you can get it out to the 90 all the way, and you do have some movement here, some movement there. The knee, you can get a knee movement because of the way the ratchet system or the connector system is, so you do have some knee posability. Again, I don't think it will be able to hold up in a stance with that knee, with the weak ratchets. It does feel a bit floppy, I will admit that, but let's get it tightened back up. Alright, so here he is next to the Wei Zhang version of Predaking, and I really thought it was going to be closer to this size, closer to the same size as the Wei Zhang. And I have to admit, price-wise, this thing was like $55 or something like that. It was a really good price. I can't remember. I think it was 55, 60 bucks or something, if I remember right. And then this guy over here, I've got over $100 in it. So looking at size and plastic and all of that, I really feel like that was a great value. And this one, probably not as much, but it still looks good. And since I don't have another one to put on a shelf, he's going to be mine until a third party comes along. But yes, I really thought it would be about the same size as this guy, and I was hoping for that. Here he is next to the Zeta option, and I just don't get it. If you're going to KO oversize something and upscale it, why upscale it to just slightly bigger? Why not go for this? Why not? Why not target that market? I don't know. But then again, They would have really needed to do something with those the waist pieces for the ratchet to make it strong enough. If it was this big, then the waist piece seriously would not be able to hold up. It's just kind of the way it is. But at the end of the day, I was really hoping I could have it at least big enough to cheat and be next to this guy. I'll have to do some super cheats, but I'll still use them. So here he is next to MP36, and that looks okay. That looks okay to me. At the end of the day, I don't have a regular standard loose version of a Combiner Wars one, so I really don't know how much bigger he is than the Combiner Wars. But I think the Combiner Wars is like 13 inches. He's more like 15 inches. So maybe the size of the Unique Toys one, I guess. So this has been the Aoyi Mech, Hun-Gurrr, and Abominus figure. And there's a couple of good things about it. He does look good. Some of the paint is applied very well. Overall, it really does sort of match the Power of the Primes aesthetic. But this figure has one job to do. Look good in combined mode, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. So what I'm going to use it for, he does look good. He's just a bit small. If you fix this problem with this fist and you fix, well, there's really, I don't know of a fix for the waist, but you just can't pose them in really dynamic poses. But the waist is kind of weak. If you can get past that, then it's a good set for you. If you can't get past that, then probably not a good set for you. It's going to be my Abominus for a while. Like, subscribe, turn your hanger out.